Before this episode begins, I'd like to preface with something important, and I would be remiss not to bring it to attention. My name is Ray, known better on the internet as Meatloaf Man, and I'm the showrunner of Crossover X. I've headed and helped produce many of our projects on the internet, but none would be as huge of an undertaking as this one. It's been an incredible ride getting to know so many great people, learning new things, improving my skills, and getting to present what I believe to be great content to many different people. The video that you are about to watch was made possible thanks to the combined efforts of multiple different people from around the world, each of whom I cannot thank enough for their help. Pretty much every person on the Crossover X team have conflicting schedules, but even so, they still managed to make great work on their piece of the episode. You'll see some of their names listed in the end credits of this video. I must, however, address the elephant in the room. For those who have been following us for a while and are watching this episode around the time of its initial upload, you might be wondering why this episode took as long as it did to produce and finally premiere, as well as why there haven't been that many other videos on the channel in between that time. Firstly, I need to express a sincere apology to the supporters of our channel, as in all honesty, a project such as this shouldn't really take an extraordinarily long time to produce, and you guys have probably been expecting some other new stuff to come out way sooner. Consistency is always important, especially with a channel desiring to explore so many avenues with the hope that others will join them for the ride. I do not like delaying or dragging out content, and I'm frankly uncertain why some people would think anyone enjoys doing that. Idealistically, we would love to get new stuff out for you guys on a usual basis. At the same time, I'm gonna be completely real with you guys. We are not a studio, we're just a group of individuals with our own lives coming together to do something fun that mostly anyone can enjoy and at our own pace. That's not to say Crossover X doesn't have the potential to have even greater production values, consistent video releases, or a variety of content to keep things fresh. But the truth is we each have families to be with, school to attend to, work to be at, and more. It is because of this and several other behind-the-scenes factors such as miscommunications, technical limitations, and even personal situations among our associates that videos from us have been sparse. I also want to clarify a misconception. We are not nor have ever been trying to be better than anyone else. While we cannot deny that we have competition we should be keeping up with, a lot of whom, by the way, are close friends of ours, we don't see ourselves above anybody, and that has never been the goal of Crossover X, period. I've said before on behalf of this team that we simply wanted to be known for more than just our versus fights, not as the best content creators in the versus genre. That isn't to say we won't give it our all when it comes to Battle Royale, but we certainly don't want that to be our only show on this channel. Even if it is the one we're known best by at this point in time, please refrain from believing in these misinterpretations spread by those unassociated with us. Once again, we deeply apologize for the hefty delay in the release of this episode. Going forward, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure we bring you great content on a more regular basis, even if it takes a while for us to figure out a solid game plan. With that being said, after this, Battle Royale is going to be taking a much needed break to give us some breathing room, more time to develop future episodes, and most importantly, make way for our other awesome shows. We hope you look forward to them, and we appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you for understanding and listening, and enjoy the show.
Fiction has brought us a plethora of interesting mythical creatures, ranging from dangerous and deadly beasts to cute, cuddly mascots. However, an adorable outlook can be the perfect disguise for a vicious and powerful warrior. But even the toughest of warriors need some help on an adventure, kinda like today's setting of facts. Two of the toughest reptilian tag teams of video game history.
I'm Manny, and I'll be researching Yoshi and Baby Mario, Nintendo's trusty star child duo of the Super Mario series.
I'm Chelsea, and I'll be researching Spyro the Dragon and Sparks the Dragonfly, Insomniac's legendary Dragon Realm defenders of the Spyro the Dragon series.
I am the Fight Analysis and Conclusion Tolerance Software, or FEATS for short, and I will be determining the victor with their research taken into account.
And I'm Rick Rocker. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is Battle Royale.
Super Mario, the savior of the Mushroom Kingdom, the face of Nintendo, one of, if not the biggest name in video game history. Chances are, if you have any familiarity with video games, you know and love this whimsical Italian plumber. But have you ever wondered where in the world Nintendo's icon came from? I mean, having a rando from Brooklyn save the world and subsequently be the face of an entire Japanese video game company seems pretty far-fetched if you ask me.
Not really? No, Manny, I haven't. I don't really care either.
Wasn't he inspired by Popeye or something? Although, funnily enough, he does look like my uncle.
Well, just pretend like you guys care, because this Italian plumber actually has some serious lore and history. But to find this, you have to look away from his typical environment in the Mushroom Kingdom and take a trip far off the coast, onto a little island inhabited by colorful dinosaurs.
Wait a second, Nintendo made Jurassic Park a part of Mario lore?
No, that's not... Well, maybe. But in this instance, we're talking about the much smaller and much more appealing species of dinos, the Yoshis.
Cute, but what do any of these guys have to do with Mario's origins?
Well, what if I told you Mario wasn't just some random Italian plumber from Brooklyn? In fact, Mario is a destined adolescent savior of the universe.
Excuse me? Did I hear that right?
Introducing the Star Children, adolescents born for greatness from a young age. However, one's greatness can be taken in many ways. I say this because along with Mario and his brother Luigi being Star Children, the tyrannical newborn Koopa royalty Bowser was once one too.
Talk about your terrible twos.
When they were born, the two were being brought to their ambiguous parents via a stork, because that's how babies are made. This peaceful event was soon disrupted by one of Bowser's most mischievous and magical minions, Comic. And while Luigi did get captured and was separated from his baby bro, Mario was reluctantly found amidst the chaos, and was saved by the Yoshis.
Please don't tell me they ate him.
What? Of course not. This is an E for everyone game after all.
From the perspective of a baby, I'm just surprised this isn't the slightest bit traumatizing.
Well, the Yoshis decided to actually help reunite the brothers, as well as stop baby Bowser from taking over the world. 'Cause that's always a plus. Note again, we are using Baby Mario, but even with the younger version of the plumber, the dynamic duo of Yoshi and Mario is extremely formidable, though sometimes, to take into consideration, they are obviously a plethora of different Yoshis. So for this fight, we'll be focusing on the most iconic and important one, the Green Yoshi.
So Green Yoshi and Baby Mario. Understood.
What makes this one so special? Wait. Don't tell me that this Yoshi...
A star child? Because you'd be correct.
Oh, of course he is.
Already complaining, and I haven't even gotten into the Yoshi's arsenal. You're in for one bumpy ride this episode, Chels. The Yoshi species as a whole is known for its strange anatomy. Their main tactics in combat center around eating and swallowing their victims whole. Yeah, I know it's gross, but Yoshi does this by wrapping its extremely long tongue around its victims. While Yoshi's tongue can also be used for swinging, sticking to walls, or even eating projectiles, he does mainly focus on eating entire enemies whole. However, when Yoshi eats an enemy, he can do multiple different things with them. In some instances, Yoshi can convert specific colored enemies into different forms of matter, such as converting a red Koopa into a fireball. But mainly, Yoshi converts his enemies into ammo for his second tool of destruction, eggs.
So he's the little punk egging my house every Halloween.
Yes, Manny, because throwing eggshells is as valuable of an ability as, I don't know, breathing fire?
Very much so, because Yoshi's eggs aren't your run-of-the-mill shells. They are shown to be tough enough to bust through metal and armored enemies. He can even generate an eggshell around himself to protect himself from attacks, or roll around. But while Yoshi can produce an infinite amount of eggs, hypothetically, he's limited by amounts of enemies and projectiles consumable in the fights.
Still seems kind of limited, if you ask me.
Sis, you ain't seen nothing yet. Being a Mario character helps Yoshi in more ways than one, as he's got an obscene amount of power-ups.
Oh boy.
Here we go again.
Relax, this'll be a cakewalk. Yoshi has the Power Flower, a special floral item that when touched grants the user a specific unique ability. In Yoshi's case, he's granted the ability to breathe searing hot fire. but that's the most conventional Mario-style power-up he gets. Since, with this whole thing being about eating, it makes sense that the rest of his power-ups are either items or food he has consumed. Mario and Yoshi's adventures have spanned all across the world, and even into outer space. In Super Mario Galaxy 2, Yoshi gains access to an assortment of different fruits.
Remember, kids, eat your fruits and vegetables. Maybe one day you'll turn into a strong, green, man-eating dinosaur. If you're lucky, of course.
By consuming a dash pepper, Yoshi becomes even speedier than before, allowing Yoshi to be exempt from a lot of the laws of physics, such as running up steep hills to running on water. Yoshi also has the blimp fruit, which can turn him into a balloon to fly, and the bulb berry, which covers Yoshi in a glowing, luminescent aura. And before Chelsea mentions it, I'm aware that these are quite unconventional weapons, but wait till you see what else this dino's packing. Such as the Chime Ball, a giant, musical, wrecking ball!
Okay, Manny, now you're just making yourself look silly.
He also has some guns if you're into that sort of thing.
Excuse me?
You heard right. Yoshi's firearms consist of the Rumble Bang spread guns and a giant rabid bazooka called the Super Bazooka!
Okay then. I wasn't expecting a green cartoon lizard to be packing that kind of heat.
It's better if you don't question it. Now, Yoshi has a lot of forms, but we're forgetting one big thing.
The Mega Egg Dozer!
Ouch. How does he get that out of his
The Mega Egg Dozer is Yoshi's most powerful egg, capable of destroying everything in its path. It also comes in a metal variation for extra damage. On top of all those weapons, he's picked up a few tricky techniques along his adventures too, namely his ground pound. After bounding high in the air in typical Mario fashion, Yoshi can perform a heavy ground pound smack akin to hitting the ground like an earthquake. And speaking of bounding, he even has his own technique that helps him stay airborne, dubbed the flutter jump, in which he scuttles his legs to create lift. Although it does tire him out eventually. He can do it multiple times in one jump to achieve some crazy air.
Okay.
What's wrong, sis? Scared?
No. Spyro actually has some serious firepower. Not like your guy who just has some goofy eggs and a friggin' baby.
Speaking of which, we haven't even gotten into what Baby Mario can do. When detached from Yoshi, Baby Mario can cruise around in an invincible bubble, and while Yoshi usually has to retrieve him, in the Mario and Luigi RPG games, Baby Mario has shown some more formidable feats, such as wielding a hammer almost the size of him. Despite this, Baby Mario can lift and swing this hammer with extreme ease and with extreme power. He's strong enough to crush spiked enemies, which Yoshi has trouble with normally.
This is why I'm never having kids.
Not like you'll have a chance to.
Don't. Shut up.
Fine. And lastly, we have both of Yoshi and Baby Mario's most powerful forms. Super Happy Yoshi and Super Baby Mario.
You can't be serious.
Does Yoshi hug his opponents to death? Is this weird frog dinosaur thing also a hippie?
No. Although he could, given his strength, which I'll get into in a bit. Super Happy Yoshi is the result of Yoshi consuming a heart fruit. This form grants Yoshi an unlimited supply of eggs and makes him nigh invincible.
Though it has a time limit, right?
Well, yeah.
I thought so.
Super Baby Mario, on the other hand, is just a form that increases his physical stats even further. But it also gives him a cute little blanket cape. Just look at that little baby in his cape. Aww.
This is getting kind of pathetic, admittedly. Manny, just move on to feats.
Yoshi is strong enough to throw the Mega Egg Dozer, which is multiple times his size. He's even tough enough to ground pound enemies completely flat and take on loads of Bowser's forces, including Raphael the Raven, who he did this to.
What even? How?
Raphael the Raven was powered up by Kamek's magic, increasing both his size and strength. While battling Yoshi, Yoshi was able to ground pound Raphael and launch him so far that he turned into a constellation. No, he didn't reach a constellation. Yoshi was powerful enough to launch Raphael with such force that he turned into a star, forming a constellation of himself.
How does that even work? And besides, that has to be some sort of outlier. There's nothing else that Yoshi's done that even comes close to this.
I'm afraid not, sis. Considering it was Kamek's magic that powered Raphael, the same magic that powers up superior foes such as Baby Bowser, we can assume they scale to Raphael. Even Baby Bowser was able to crush Comic flat under a few hits. And Yoshi has taken on this Baby Koopa King more times than I can count. He's even bested an amped adult Bowser, who can survive inside of a black hole. Yoshi's own durability is also formidable. He was able to survive the initial strike from Raphael, which sent him into orbit after all.
Judging by the time frame it took Yoshi to land on the moon and lowballing our calculations using only a low Earth orbit to crunch our numbers, Yoshi must have been sent flying by Raphael at a speed of at least Mach 96.75, making the impact equivalent of 8.81 tons of TNT.
Not to mention, Yoshi survived being crushed by Thwomps, Baby Bowser, and even the collapse of his castle. And when it comes to speed, Yoshi gets even more insane. Let's bring up Raphael one last time.
In order for Raphael to have been turned into multiple stars equal to other stars, he must have been traveling insanely long distances away, roughly flying across 4.22 light years. Considering the time frame it took to do so only being 2.8 seconds, Raphael would have been traveling at 47.56 million times the speed of light.
Alright, we get it.
What's wrong? Afraid to lose?
Not at all. Cause that's where Yoshi's positives end, little bro.
But I'm the older one.
While Yoshi is indeed strong, he still has some noticeable flaws hidden underneath that lovable exterior that hinder what would be a very tough combatant. He more often than not shows that on his own, he is very dependent and requires help from Mario. I mean, how many times do you see him run off a cliff in panic? Not to mention, most of his power-ups do have a finite amount of uses, or have time limits. Really, his main weapon also requires his opponent to make the first move as well. Some great child of destiny he is.
Denial at its finest. Not even a Koopa King's rage can bring down this hungry and happy dino.
Within the world of talking and warring creatures, there exists a dragon prophecy. Every 10 generations, a rare purple dragon will be born, and that dragon will bring peace to the entire world. Everyone across the land knows this tale, including the Dark Master, the ancient enemy of the dragons, who then sent its minions out to destroy a batch of dragon eggs during the Year of the Dragon, to prevent the hatchling dragon from ever crossing him.
I guess that's one way to make a dragon egg omelet. I wonder what that tastes like.
Luckily for us, the Dark Master never got to find out. The kindly fire guardian dragon named Ignitus managed to rescue the special purple egg before the Dark Master's forces could get to it, sending it drifting down a river of a swamp to where it would hopefully be safe.
Sis, don't tell me you grew up playing games about Dragon Moses.
Oh, put a dash pepper in it, why don't you? Eventually, that drifting purple egg was found by a family of dragonflies, and they took it in as their own. And out of that egg hatched the dragon that the prophecy foretold. His name was Spyro, and for the first 12 years of his life, he was brought up as a dragonfly like the rest of his adoptive family.
Am I the only one reminded of that one mammoth chick from the Ice Age movies?
Don't you dare compare my precious purple boy to those cash grabs! And I'll have you know that the dramatic reveal was much cooler here. When he was attacked by apes, who used dragonflies as lantern fuel, Spyro discovered that not only was he strong enough to fend off the attackers, but that he could also breathe fire. It was then that his adoptive family told him the truth. He wasn't a dragonfly, but a dragon from a strange, distant place.
So, you mean I'm not your real son?
You are our real son. It's just that you came from somewhere else. Far away, where wars rage on, and the innocent seem to always pay the price.
Determined to find this place, Spyro set out on a journey to find his heritage, alongside his dragonfly brother Sparx, who was born on the same day that Spyro was found. Although they were chased by enemies, they eventually found Ignitus, and that began Spyro's adventure. No, not the Skylanders game. To rescue the imprisoned Dragon Guardians, and stop the return of the Dark Master.
Are you sure this is the right legendary purple dragon? I mean, isn't he a little, I don't know, small for the job?
I'll have you know that his size is a little deceiving. Spyro is packing a lot of power, some of which comes from the weapons he has. Not only does he have firebombs that he can cause huge explosions with, but he's also got firecrackers that he can shoot to destroy tougher obstacles, like metal chests. Spyro's not a stranger to getting up close and personal with opponents. See those horns? One of Spyro's main abilities is a powerful charge attack, which involves driving those horns through whatever's unlucky enough to be in his way. Be it rocks, giant doors, and yes, even bad guys. And when he's up in the air, he can use a head bash attack to drop straight down and crush anything that's under him with his horns too.
Ground pound sounds cooler.
Oh, really now? Well, you know what sounds better than a flutter jump? Flying, that's what. Which Spyro is indeed capable of. He can use those majestic wings of his to fly, glide, and hover all over the place. And keeping in pace with what you'd expect from a good dragon, Spyro's packing the ability to shoot fire from his mouth, usually in the way of fireballs. It's typically more powerful than his charge attack too, which makes it a go-to when he's at range. Ooh, and fire's not the only thing he's got packed in his abilities though. Facts, do your thing.
As Spyro met and saved the Guardian Dragons during the events of the Legend of Spyro games, they trained Spyro in the ways of their respective elemental abilities. This opened up a plethora of elemental-oriented attacks and abilities that Spyro can utilize in several different ways in combat.
Elemental has chosen one. This dragon wouldn't happen to be related to...
No, Rick, this is not the last Airbender. Anyway, to start off, Spyro's ordinary fire-breathing abilities were taken to the next level by Ignitus, the Fire Guardian Dragon, the very same who saved Spyro's life as an egg. He taught Spyro how to further utilize his natural fire-breathing prowess to master the element of fire, teaching him how to create fire pillars, rings of flame, and even flaming rocks that rain down from above. Feeling the heat yet, Manny?
Get over yourself. Yoshi's used to fire. He'll be fine. It'll take a lot more than just that to torch him.
Can't exactly say the same for his yarn counterpart. Speaking of which, do you still sleep with all those woolly Yoshi amiibo next to you?
Don't you dare bring them into this! I know where you keep all your Spyro Skylanders.
Lay a finger on my darlings and I swear to God.
Wake it up, the both of you. Can we get through a single analysis without you two being at each other's throats?
In a pretty glaring opposite to his fire powers, Spyro was taught how to use the element of ice by the Ice Guardian Dragon, Cyril. With his super freeze breath, Spyro can freeze enemies in their tracks, and even turn the smaller ones into snowballs. It's even so potent that he can freeze entire rivers with it. And he can also create a chilly field that freezes enemies caught in it.
Now that's a pretty cool ability right there.
Sub vs. Kulo was 2 episodes ago, Rick. Let it die!
You two never let me have any fun.
This might come as a shock to both of you, but Spyro's elemental powers keep going with his electrical abilities, taught to him by Voltier, the Electricity Guardian Dragon. With his electricity breath, Spyro can shoot out multiple arcs of electricity to deliver shocks to his enemies' systems. My little darling here can even summon small storm clouds to blast lightning at his foes. Finally, there's the power of Earth, taught to Spyro by Terrador, the Earth Guardian Dragon. While this doesn't give him a new kind of breath attack, he can use his Earth Flail ability to create a small green ball of energy, which he can swing from his mouth. Plus, he can make it rain rocks on enemies like they're under a mini landslide.
Are you done yet?
Not quite. You see, Spyro's still got one major source of power left, the power of Aether. Said to be the true power of the purple dragons, Spyro gained access to it after mastering all the 4 elements I just brought up. It comes in 2 variations, the first of which is Light Aether. When this is used, Spyro shoots beams of energy at his foes, and he can open up portals that summon several giant Spyro heads that lock onto enemies and chase them down.
That doesn't even make sense.
About as much sense as an egg-laying frog lizard makes.
Touché.
On the other side of this Aether spectrum is, well, Dark Aether, which is a bit more dangerous than Light Aether. Why, you ask? Well, I'll get to that in a bit. Even with all his impressive abilities, Spyro's never too far from a helping hand. That helping hand would be Sparx the Dragonfly, Spyro's technical brother since birth. Sparx' bond with his dragon bro is so strong that he's willing to take hits for Spyro when he's in a pinch. He can only take so many, of course, but it just goes to show how strong a family bond can be. Well, some. Sparx can fly around fast enough to leave slight after images, is smart enough to give Spyro useful advice during his adventures, can shoot small fireballs to help in a fight, and has tons of abilities he can get by eating butterflies.
How Sparx is capable of receiving the kinds of abilities he does from butterfly consumption is beyond even my understanding, but however bizarre it is, the effects from it are certainly beneficial. He can shoot fireballs with shotgun-like spreading capabilities, homing rockets, energy blasts that fire in a wide arc in front of him, a defensive shielding aura that protects him from damage, and 2 different types of bombs, small and super, with varying degrees of explosion size and magnitude.
Quite a bit more useful than just a diaper-wearing child with a hammer. Wouldn't you say, Manny?
Yeah, right. What cool transformation does Sparx have, huh? Nothing that stacks up to Super Baby Mario, I bet.
Well, Sparx may not have a powerful transformation, but remember the Dark Aether I mentioned earlier? Well, the reason it's so dangerous is that its power can easily overwhelm those who try to use it. And when that power takes over our potent purple dragon, Dark Spyro comes out to play. When this transformation occurs, Spyro becomes an unstoppable being of destruction who flattens anything that challenges him. He can only use Dark Aether powers in this form, but normally, that's all he really needs. With this immense power of Dark Aether at his command, Dark Spyro can blast enemies with dark energy and literally turn them into stone with its power.
Well, these final transformations sure went from gleeful to gloomy pretty fast.
Sure, but is he invincible? No, I don't think so.
Spyro doesn't need invincibility to achieve the greatness his destiny foretold. He saved the dragons from being turned into diamond, has fought all kinds of bad guys from orcs to golems to dark lords, defeated Malfoy alongside Cinder, and saved the world from the Destroyer, which was blowing the entire planet apart.
How the heck did he fix all of that?
Simple. He just pulled it back together.
Pulling the fragmented parts of the planet back together is one of Spyro's most impressive feats, if not the most impressive. By calculating the kinetic energy of a single piece of the planet as Spyro pulled it back together, its power can roughly be placed somewhere in the several thousands of yotatons of TNT.
That sounds like a lot. But is that all he's got?
Hardly. Spyro's constantly shown to be able to break open large stones and thick metal objects all on his own, smash through thick tree roots with his charge attacks, and he's easily busted down and locked metal doors several times his size with a single charge. And aside from obviously being tough enough to slam into all this with his own head, he can survive huge explosions that span entire islands, take TNT-based explosions several times over, shrug off attacks from giant rock golems called the Earth Shapers, and being lit up with electricity.
Additionally, referring back to the feat of pulling the planet back together, the speed at which the calculated mass of land was moving is well over 40,000 times the speed of sound, meaning the land mass was moving at sub-relativistic speeds.
Spyro is one powerful dragon for sure, but his cocky nature and really heroic attitude usually end up landing him in a difficult situation more often than they help him get out of one.
They won't be there for long.
Wonderful, now he's getting cocky.
Plus, his power-ups aren't permanent. If he runs out of them, it could take a while to recover them and use them again. And that's not even mentioning how situational and location-specific some of them are. And it's worth pointing out that Spyro's still a kid. He's only around 12 years old, so he doesn't exactly have that much formal experience.
Right, because experience of all things is gonna help us decide this fight. Evildoers beware, because this heroic purple dragon is always all fired up.
Run! Spyro! Save yourself!
Not this time. This time I fight.
Bring it.
Well then, I think it's safe to say that out of all of our combatants to be featured on Battle Royale thus far, these two have exceeded our expectations the most. Just goes to show that looks can be deceiving. However, only one, or in this case two, fighters will come out of this scrap victorious. Which dynamic duo do you think will win? Be sure to take a minute to make a prediction before the mayhem ensues.
Fight analysis complete. I have concluded the most likely out of thousands of possible scenarios and arranged a visual interpretation of their research.
Then you know what that means. It's showtime!
Spyro, are you alright?
Not one of my better landings.
Killer clutch. Huh? Whoa, look out!
What the? Hey, buddy. I don't appreciate anyone hurting my friends. Sparks, you okay?
I'm awake. What's going on?
It's showtime!
get him? Okay, I've had enough. What the?
Spyro!
What happened?
I don't remember. Didn't we have something to do?
Oh, right. Let's go.
Whoa, hey, wait for me!
KO!
Alright!
My poor pretty boy.
And that's why Nintendo's still making Yoshi games. Yes!
Come on, Manny. Show some remorse.
No, Rick, it's fine. Kinda realized from the get-go that Spyro and Sparks were fighting an uphill battle, alright?
Really now? And why's that?
Facts, if you don't mind pouring more salt in the wounds.
Here you are, and I am sorry for your loss.
You see, Manny, I may love my pure purple dragon boy, but even I know his larger pool of magic-based abilities and superior intelligence was irrelevant to that large of a stat gap.
You're being surprisingly mature about this one. But yeah, sorry, Chels. Maybe you can look forward to a remastered trilogy in the future. But for now, let's cover the bases for any misinformed viewers. Like you said, Spyro may have the larger pool of elemental and magical powers, what with Sparks, his fairies, and his exclusivity to Aether, but what good is that when Yoshi's vast arsenal pretty much had a check for anything Spyro could have thrown at him?
I guess it didn't really help that Spyro's forte of projectile-based battles didn't mesh well with Yoshi's ability to literally spit back and rebound anything Spyro could have fired off at him.
And when comparing the two stats, it becomes almost clear as day who holds the edge in this encounter. Like, come on. Spyro may have the capability to piece together entire planets, but what's to compare that to Yoshi's star levels of destructive capability?
Spyro's feat of bringing the planet back together is indeed impressive, but the raw amount of power Yoshi displayed in being able to launch Raphael as far as he did, combined with turning the Raven into his own constellation, makes Spyro's feat seem like mere child's play.
This divide in power also translates into the difference in their durability as well, which is Kind of odd considering Spy Guy is the only one stacking any sort of actual armor. But let's not forget to mention, there was also a sizable gap in the speed category. The purple dragon's ability to dodge and move at sub-relativistic speeds isn't super impressive in comparison to the green dinosaur and the entire Mario vs. insane displays of speed.
The most impressive feat of speed Spyro has to his name is when he was pulling the planet back together, where the pieces were moving at 5% the speed of light. Meanwhile, Yoshi has feats, both from himself and from scaling, that easily puts him at several times over the speed of light. The feat from Raphael the Raven's boss fight in particular puts the Raven's speed of flight after being defeated as well over 40 million times the speed of light, completely dwarfing even Spyro's most impressive displays of speed.
Even when stacking Dragon Time, the percentage at which it functions still puts Spyro's speed under Yoshi's by a huge margin. In fact, it pretty much wouldn't help him at all.
Alright, I'm not even gonna argue. Spyro kinda gets blitzed here.
And while Dark Spyro would give Spyro a slightly better fighting chance, it doesn't tighten the gaps enough to give Spyro a win, especially due to Yoshi and Baby Mario's multiple invincibility-based forms.
That, right there, that's what I'm talking about. From the get-go, it was pretty obvious that their companions served two completely different purposes. Spyro and Sparx have been dependent on one another since birth, while Yoshi doesn't really need Baby Mario. Actually, it was kind of a handicap that he'd even have to watch his kid throughout the battle.
Sounds about right to me. Note that even without Baby Mario, it would make no difference. Spyro and Sparx simply couldn't match the stats of the dynamic dino duo.
Hey, at least Spyro's still alive. Otherwise, the purple dragons would have gone extinct.
You know what? Screw you, Manny.
Sis? Sis! Why is it every time I win, I still lose? Come back!
These two kids sure are something. The winners of this Battle Royale are Yoshi and Baby Mario.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the episode. We each worked really hard on it and we couldn't have gotten it done without your continued support. Big thank you to everyone who has been patient and stood by us throughout our journey. Special thanks to our patrons over on Patreon for directly supporting our channel. If you would like to support Battle Royale and the rest of Crossover X, please check us out at patreon.com/crossoverx. Even $1 a month can go a long way towards the production of future content and having your dream matchups made into reality. Finally, a huge thanks to all of our friends, supporters, and fellow content creators as well, for keeping us going in many different ways. We love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Until we meet again.
Life ain't fair.